I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Yes. Do we have any special intentions tonight? Councilman Brannigan.
One of my constituents, Raul Gomez, passed away. He lived in Chateau, and really good guy. I mean, good family man, and he was one of the kindest people I've ever met. Chief, did you want to?
Yeah, to your point, Mr. Gomez was an activist in his community. He advocated for the Hispanic and Latino community, made sure they had a voice in government. As you know, he probably crossed all of our paths. He led voter registration drives. He helped set him up in new business. So if we can keep him in our thoughts and prayers and his family at this time, I think it'd mean a lot.
Anyone else? Ms. D?
I have a statement to make on behalf of Mayor Glazer. It is with sadness that we have learned of the loss of a proud Kenner and Jefferson Parish resident. Al Murillo was a proud patriot who served our country and was known across Jefferson Parish and Kenner for his unwavering commitment to integrity and accountability. In his own way, Al held government officials to the highest standards, tirelessly advocating for transparency. His legacy as a constant watchdog of taxpayers' dollars will live on. We will remember him and will miss his strong presence at our meetings and in our community. On my behalf, Council President, Acting Mayor, Councilwoman Dijon, we will all miss Al, as I've often run across him at Walmart and Sam's and had a pleasant conversation with him always. I don't think that this council meeting will be the same without him.
And last, I'd like to wish our colleague, Councilman Brennan, a speedy recovery for his absence tonight. Anyone else? Right now, Councilwoman McKinney, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, thank you, Council Vice President. If we can all bow our heads. Lord God, thank you for this day and the opportunity to come together to make impactful decisions for our community and work together for the best of Kenner. On this day, please give us direction, fortitude, and grace to deal with anything that may lay ahead. May we seek guidance, your guidance, and work steadfastly in your name. Lord, please watch over the soul of Al Morella, and he'll always be in our hearts and definitely have a reserved seat in our council meetings. Amen.
Councilman Wilmot, would you please lead us to the pledge?
You place your hands over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Monday will be Veterans Day, so therefore I'm going to dedicate tonight's meeting to all the veterans of our service, home and abroad. And I'd like to read these words that was sent to me years ago. It is the veteran, not the preacher, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us the right to assemble. It is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the veteran who salutes the flag. It is the veteran who serves under the flag. It is with we, the people, who give thanks to the veteran. Again, to all the service members around the world, we thank you for your service.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. Councilwoman Dunn will be serving as the mayor, and Councilmember Brennan will be absent. Do we have any correspondence reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads? No. Do we have any resolutions, motions, or other items from the floor? Seeing none. Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of October 18, 2024. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot, to approve the consent agenda. All council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,675, an ordinance amending the 2023-2024 operating budget to comply with the Louisiana Revised Statute 39:1310-1311. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to open the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Please come forward now. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to close the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to approve. Councilmember Wilmot?
Yes, Ms. Herring, if you could you just give us a summary of this?
Yep, this is just our normal housekeeping, cleaning up the budget from last year. So there's a state statute that requires us to amend the budget if we're 5% over our expenditures or 5% under our revenues. The legislative auditor looks at this statute as 5% either way. So luckily for us, we were 5% below our expenditures and 5% higher than our revenues. So basically our revenues came in higher than what we had projected, and we did not spend as much as we had projected. So this is just amending those accounts to make us closer to the budget for last fiscal year.
Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 8B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,676, an ordinance approving a conditional use for a minor automotive repair shop located on Lot 17A, Square 325, Highway Park Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which property is zoned C2, General Commercial, in accordance with a site plan dated August 13, 2024, an elevation plan dated August 1, 2024, and a roof and floor plan dated August 1, 2024, all by Studio 314 Designs. I have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Lahat, to open your public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. We're now in a public hearing, and the Planning Department has a presentation.
Yes, we do. Very quickly, the applicant in this particular case is Mr. Wilson Moya, 281 West Louisiana, Kenner 70065. The subject property fronts on Delaware Avenue, bound by Florida Avenue on the east, 27th Street on the south, and Veterans Boulevard to the north. The site is currently developed as a multi-tenant commercial building. This particular portion of it is vacant or unoccupied. As part of the requirements for the conditional use, the applicant held an early neighborhood meeting. He invited 23 of the neighbors within 250 feet. None of the neighbors invited showed up to the meeting. I believe Councilmember Shaworth was at the meeting. So we did receive an email from a Mr. Pat Mahalik, who expressed concerns about the amount of available parking for this particular site. The property is zoned C2, general commercial, and automotive repair is considered a conditional use in C2. Basically, everything around the property is zoned C2. Most of the uses developed are appropriate C2 uses. In the general vicinity, there are a couple of other automotive repair shops. And across the street, the property is zoned airport heavy industrial. I believe it's owned by the airport. I think that's that big vacant piece of property that you see on the screen. The building, or let me just real quick address the issue with the parking. They're only required to have 8 parking spaces for this site. They have 4 in the front, but I'm going to jump to the slide. As you can see, the interior of the building is quite large. And so for these types of uses, all of the cars that are being worked on are required to be inside. And they have room for a good 6 or 7 cars in there. So we don't think that the nature of the business lends itself to people showing up and spending 3 hours or an hour. People drop their cars off, they leave, they either have a ride or something else, and then they come and pick up their car. And so they're driving away in their car, so they're not going to be there to park and hang out. So we don't feel that the 4 parking spots plus the 7 or 8 inside for all the work to be done is sufficient for this particular site. The building's an existing warehouse-style metal building with a wide roll-up door in the center to allow for cars to be brought inside for repair. There's a pedestrian entrance on the north side closer to the adjacent property. The landscape plan reviewer determined that the applicant does not need to provide any landscaping for this project, as it does not meet any of the conditions in the UDC that would actually trigger the need for landscaping. There's no sign proposed at this time, although I would direct you to the building elevations. They do have a placeholder for a sign, which, you know, if that is the size of the sign relative to the door, it would be completely within the requirements of the sign ordinance for an attached sign. They'll just have to come in and tell us what they want on the sign, and we'll have to do a minor site plan change at the time to update the plan. That's pretty much the Planning Commission recommended approval, and that's pretty much the end of the presentation.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to come forward and address the council? Mr. Teft, you have 3 minutes.
Greg Tapp, 5th District. I don't know if y'all have the opportunity to drive by some of these shops, but some cars do get left overnight. And I understand a concern for parking because you're going to have not only the ones in the building, which is fine, but you're also going to have layovers out in the parking lot and probably new customers that are coming there to get their cars worked on that they can't get to at that point. So I don't know if I necessarily agree that the parking is adequate. And I just want to bring that to your attention because y'all going to make a decision, but I really don't believe, if you ever looked at a lot, a mechanic, there's always cars sitting out there that haven't been worked on or they're waiting for parts because they can't do anything without the parts. They can't leave them in the shop because they need the shop for the cars they can work on. So that's just something that when you look at the parking issue, and I consider it an issue, that it could be a problem. And that's all I have to say about it. Thank you.
Mr. Gregg, have you ever been to that shop?
Sorry?
Have you ever been there?
To that shop?
Yes.
No.
It conforms with all the other shops in the neighborhood. They all do the same thing. And we would hope that the occupant would have that problem, that they have too many vehicles there for him to work on at one time. Any occupant would love to have that problem. But understand what you're saying about the parking issue. And it's just sometimes the occupant might have to say, I can't work on it here, and bring it back when I have adequate space for it. You know, so we'll just, I don't specific
I
that
just would
be a
like
problem.
to say that we have informed the applicant that the code requires that the work be done inside.
Correct.
So he cannot store cars outside in this particular zoning district. This is C2, not special industrial.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
listen, I mean, you know, we looked at this very closely. We are aware that parking has been an issue with various cases. If this was a commercial development with 50% parking, I would not be up here telling you that we support this. This is a different type of business. It's not a constant flow of people coming in and out. It's an ad hoc business. If you have a car issue, you're going to bring it to the mechanic. And, you know, we made them aware that they cannot store their cars outside, and they have clearly they have sufficient room inside to store a number of vehicles. It's like 5,000 square foot inside of that building.
Correct. That, like I said, I've been there, I've been inside, it's pretty big, and you're seeing 4 vehicles, absolutely more than 4 vehicles can sit inside. But yes, I will be voting for this measure.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Lahat, to close the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. I have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Lahat for approval. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of immovable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution authorizing the placement of temporary signs on public property for the Dawn Busters Kiwanis Club. I have a motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember Sharwood. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 13B is a resolution accepting and adopting the System Survey and Compliance Questionnaire from the Legislative Auditor of the State of Louisiana. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 13C is a resolution of the City of Kenner Government in support of maintaining the Louisiana entertainment industry tax incentives. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Councilmember Brannigan.
Oh, yes. I talked to Mayor Glazer about this. The state of Louisiana is looking at a lot of different funding sources and different things that they're doing. And basically, if they take the funding away from the film industry, I feel that it's going to hurt our city. When you look at the jobs that's created annually, it's about 10,000 jobs. Wages are very high in this industry. There's $1 billion of money spent back in the Louisiana businesses. When you look at the payroll, it's $350 million, which generates $17 million for the state in income taxes. Our city has had many films filmed here. Chateau Country Club has had films added. The Sonny's Ice Cream Parlor has had films. Franny's Breakfast Place in the 2600 block of Williams. It's not there anymore, but they filmed several movies there. And the movie Unhinged with Russell Crowe was filmed in the Chateau area. I think it's a big deal for the state to know our position, and hopefully my colleagues agree with me, that we don't want to mess these tax credits up because it's going to have a negative impact on the state of Louisiana. I was told, and I don't know if this is completely accurate, but every dollar of tax credit generates $6.32 back to the state of Louisiana. And that's a big deal. We'll take deals like that every day, okay? So I think it's very important for us to make sure that these tax credits stay in place because we want to attract the film industry, as much of the film industry as we can get to our city. It's a plus. It's a big deal. And that's why I went to the administration, talked to them, and that's why this resolution's on today. I appreciate them hearing it. And and feeling the same way that I do, that it's important to the city of Kenner and Jefferson Parish and the state of Louisiana. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, council members in favor, please say aye.
You missed
Oh,
it.
I'm so sorry.
Ryan's
Go
up.
ahead. I'm sorry, Ryan.
It's all right. Ryan Nugent, 5444 Erlanger in District 3. I just wanted to say that I do support this resolution, but I did want to bring attention to another tax credit program that is also on the top chopping block and I also think deserves some support from the city, and that's the historic restoration tax credits. Those tax credits have been instrumental in revitalizing and putting back into commerce literally thousands of properties across the state, ranging from the Four Seasons Hotel downtown to properties right here in the historic Rivertown district. As someone who actually works in that industry, I can tell you, that a lot of these properties probably would continue to sit derelict or would have continued to sit derelict if not for these incentive programs. So this is another one, like I said, that's also on the chopping block with the Louisiana entertainment industry tax incentives. And I think both of these are very important, and I would encourage our representatives to give their support and try to get these tax credits maintained. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize again.
Thanks, Ryan.
Sorry about that. Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, there's just a few quick things I'd like to add to Councilman Brannigan's comments, and I'm in agreement as well. But I'd also like to mention that I understand that there's 18 higher education institutions that are now teaching tech, media, and film. So that's huge. That's huge. We also have 2 businesses in the city of Kenner, I understand, that have businesses or studios with this type of technology. And it's, I'm sure it's important to them as well. So I'm going to support this, absolutely. We've also understand that there's $9.1 million back to the workforce and education film programs. So there's a lot of things here that are very positive, and therefore I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,677, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from AMR's Lawn and Landscape LLC to provide grass cutting in accordance with sealed bid 24-6847 and an amount not to exceed $360,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Sharwood. Councilman Brannigan.
Yes, I have a question. In the legislation, it says 360,000. On the bid sheet, it says 330,000. Is there a reason for the difference of 30,000?
The bid amount is 330, so it should be
330. Okay. Thank you, Jose.
Do you want to, do we need to amend the legislation, Mr. Jose?
Yeah, but, so the bid is based on locations and how many cuts, and so we're going higher. That's the difference in it, so it's really
It's 360?
Yeah, it's 360 is the number. It's just the items that we bid and the quantities came out to 330, but it's a service, so we might not use 360, it just
Right.
how it works out, but that's what the difference is.
But even at 360, the next closest is 381. So
Yes. It's total bid, every quantity is the same, so it's how they get evaluated.
Okay.
But we think that we may use 360.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we would like
No
to
problem.
leave it.
I'd just like to further add for the council's knowledge that this contract allows us to add properties as we find ourselves short-staffed, and we have had to do that with the previous grass contract. So the amount can fluctuate, although the amount you see with the bid tally is based on lowest overall price provided by the vendor.
And then if we did need more money during the contract.
We would come back to the
You'd come
council
back
to
to
amend
us.
the cap. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I'm good with that.
Mr. Taft? You have 3 minutes.
Greg Taft, 5th District. No, I just, looking at this ordinance, and it says not to 360,000, should that say not to exceed?
Yes, that's how the clerk read it, and it's not to exceed.
So, so it's in there, it's just not here?
No, that's right. It was just not on this cover sheet, but it's on the ordinance.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. Yes, sir. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,678, an ordinance approving change order number 1 to the agreement with Gibbs Construction LLC dated April 24, 2021 regarding construction of Fire Station 38 for a net of $115,000 to the agreement amount, resulting in a total agreement amount of $145,000 for the Public Works Department. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney.
Councilman Hatt?
Sorry, new microphone, getting used to it. This looks like a change order related to a test pile program and a surcharge removal. This is the Duke Street Fire Station, right? And what's the increase? What's the,
It's a $115,000 increase, and that's to haul away all the unnecessary surcharge material that had been put on the site roughly 2 to 3 years ago.
Got it.
So in addition to hauling away all the surcharge material, the $115,000 increase also includes pile testing requirements.
got it, okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Jose.
And also, that sand that's going to be removed from there is going to Lake Town.
Yes, not all of it is going to go to
Yeah,
Lake
some of
Town.
it, not, it's getting spread
Yeah.
more than one ways, but it's going,
Right.
some of it's going to Lake Town.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Brown, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Richard Brown, District 4 in Kenner. I've got a similar question about this item because this is a $115,000 increase, which brings the total to $145,000. That means the original agreement or original bid was only $30,000, and we're increasing it by $115,000. That just seems like a huge increase from $30,000 to $145,000. And Jose, can you elaborate just a bit more? It just seems strange.
Okay, this is a design-build type of project. There's $30,000 that was originally, allocated to this project with the construction contractor of Gibbs Construction was to review plans, provide advice and assistance to the design consultant, and coordination services. So that dollar amount was relatively low, okay? That was just for technical assistance and advice. The surcharge was not part of the $30,000. That came in afterwards. So we have a significant amount of surcharge material that now needs to be hauled away, and that's the bulk of the 115. However, the 115 is not all hauling away surcharge. It includes pile testing requirements out there before they begin to drive, piles out there of the proper length and type.
Okay, so it's basically to do a lot more work.
Well, it's actual work now rather than technical assistance. Okay. Now we're talking about hauling a significant amount of surcharge material.
Okay, thank you.
From the site to other places, in addition to pile driving, test pile driving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Ms. Alessandro?
Hi. So, Jose, I have some similar questions to Richard that he had. This is the first time I'm looking at this legislation. I didn't see any of the documents prior, so I'm coming to you with no knowledge. So, got a couple of questions. So, like Mr. Brown said, it appears that the original contract was for $30,000. And from hearing the explanation of what that was for, right off the bat, I don't like this. I mean, I know 30,000 is a low number in a contract of this size, but if we have the best and the brightest here, which I'm talking about you and other members of the team, And we have Gibbs Construction, I believe. Is it Gibbs Construction?
Gibbs Construction, right.
Okay, as the contractor, and I'm assuming that we have the best engineers and architects on this project. Right off the bat, why are we giving them $30,000 to consult on anything?
Okay,
I
well,
don't like that.
look, without placing blame or trying to not answer your question, this is a project that is roughly 3, 4, 5 years old, okay? And that's the way it had been set up as a design-build project, okay? As a design-build project, a contractor was assigned to the project, and the $30,000 fee was based on the contractor working with the design consultants that were assigned to the project, architects and engineers, to assist them with technical advice on how the project should be built and keep the costs down. That's the primary reason for having an experienced contractor to provide advice to design consultants that were selected by the city. That's why the cost was so low. Now, remember, this has been going on for probably 3 or 4 years. Okay. So that's $30,000. The money, that increase of $115 is just to haul the surcharge material out of there, because the area has not settled as much as it was anticipated to settle, and haul it and test pile requirements.
Okay. Well, thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it. I still don't like it. I don't like that at all. Not one bit. And, you know, I hope that, you know, that everybody's watching this contract like a hawk, because it has the potential to balloon. And my next question is this the way this entire project is going to go? We start with a $30,000 contract, and every time something happens, I have no problem with this because we can follow it. I'm just asking, is every time something happens, we're going to add a change order to the original, or is everything going to come in separately?
Okay, the way it's going to work as a design-build project, the way I understand it, is that the contractor is going to provide a cost to our design consultants and to the city of Kenner. They're going to provide a cost to build the fire station. Once that cost is approved by the design consultants teams and the city of Kenner, that number becomes fixed. Okay, so to change that number, it would have to, you know, be something totally incredible that may have happened out there for us to be able to change that number. So it's going to be a fixed number. Okay, we're not there yet. We're very close to getting that construction cost from the contractor, and we're close to evaluating the dollar amount. Once it's fixed, it's fixed. Something similar happened with the I-10 Loyola project, okay? It was a design-build contract, okay? Once it's a design-build contract, the DOTD approved the construction cost, and unless something unreasonable happens out there, that price is fixed. So, no, I'm not anticipating any additional cost. Now, if anything unforeseen happens out there, yes, there may be an extra.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Brannigan?
Ms. Alessandro, Jose Gonzalez does not let a grain of sand go between his feet without knowing what's going on. So we're protected. I can guarantee you that.
Well,
Okay.
like I said, this is an old project
Right.
that has been around for either 3, 4, 5 years. And we're getting ready to start. We can't hold back anymore.
Right.
I mean, the funds are available for construction. That's the way it was approached. That's the way it was designed. That's the way it was approved. So we gotta follow the process.
Thank you, Jose.
Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,679, an ordinance approving cooperative endeavor agreement with the parish of Jefferson to provide funding to repair a collapsed drain line in Kenner, Louisiana, not to exceed $150,000. I have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Councilmember Lahat?
Again, the microphone. So JP, Jefferson Parish, is paying for this in full. And by way of a reimbursement, I read in the the contract. Is that correct?
Yes, Councilman. Soon after Hurricane Francine, when Amy and I and others were visiting some of the damaged areas, especially in the northwest section of Kenner, we had detected a sinkhole on a servitude out there that accesses, Canal 17, which is a north-south canal that divides Seaton Park with University City. So the sinkhole was a direct result of a large drainage outfall pipe that was there. I took it upon myself to send an email to the parish drainage department with a request for financial assistance on the account that servitude is in all likelihood being used by the parish to access the canal for grass cutting and other canal improvements. They agreed to participate, and I guess that's the end of the story. So all we need is a cooperative endeavor agreement. The work has been completed. The estimated cost may not be 150, but it's going to be close to 150. And they have agreed to pay for the full amount. In yesterday's parish council meeting, they already approved the CEA. It's up to us right now to approve the CEA, sign off on it, and once the CEA is approved by both parties, we're going to send the parish an invoice for the entire dollar amount that it took to replace the collapsed line.
Great. Thank you so much.
Jose, do you know if there's going to be a vibration monitor set up over there because it's going to be so close to the houses?
The original cost, as provided by the parish to us when they agreed, actually they initially agreed to do the work and then they backed off and they said, you ought to do the work and we'll reimburse you. When I realized that we were going to be involved with doing the work, even though some of the materials have been ordered already, I requested that we do vibration monitoring because the servitude was narrow and we had two homes adjacent to them. And it was a large pipe and large equipment had to be used in the area. So yes, we hire a geotechnical consultant. As a matter of fact, it's a Kenner company to monitor vibrations out there and do some inspections while the work was going on. The work has been completed. It's been accepted. All we got to do is pay the invoices and request reimbursement.
Thank you.
But yes, vibration monitoring did take place.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I don't think I have a problem with the actual cooperative endeavor agreement, but my question is this drain line that I guess collapsed and had to be repaired, was that collapsed drain line possibly a factor in the flooding that we had with Hurricane Francine?
I don't believe so. We just don't know how long that sinkhole had been there. Okay, it may have been there prior to Hurricane Francine. I have no documentation, but I believe that sinkhole was probably there before Francine. And to answer your question, no, I don't believe so. I think the main problem with what we experienced there during Hurricane Francine was related to the 3 pumps at the airport that failed to function, as well as the fact that we had a lot of rain that day, roughly 8 inches or 9 inches during the bad period, in conjunction with 2 pumps that also failed at our workhorse, which is the Duncan pump station. So no, my feel on this, my gut feel is that no, this collapse, it was minimal compared to some of the other components of factors.
Okay, thank you. Did I understand you to say that we had a problem with 2 pumps at the Duncan Canal pump station?
Yes, sir.
I knew that one, malfunctioned, but I wasn't sure about a second one. So they have 6 pumps at that station, correct?
They have 6 pumps, and my understanding is 2 of the diesel pumps were the ones that failed during the event.
Okay, and those are the larger pumps, right?
That's my
the diesel
understanding.
pumps. Okay,
Now,
thank you.
3 out of 4 at the airport failed to function.
Right. I know those Those are small pumps, but right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,680. An ordinance ratifying the emergency replacement and installation of 3 variable frequency drives at Chateau Transfer Lift Station by Control Systems Incorporated in the amount of $79,770 for the Department of Wastewater. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Seeing no discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,681. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Covington Sales and Service Incorporated to purchase 1 CCTV pipeline inspection trailer unit in accordance with seal bid number 24-6846 in the amount of $222,481 for the Department of Wastewater. I have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Seeing no discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,682. An ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the State of Louisiana Facility Planning and Control, FP&C, for a new Kenner Police Department training facility and emergency operations center, planning and construction, project number 50-NTR-24-01 in the amount of $2 million for the Kenner Police Department. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Mr. Brown, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you again, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
I have a question as to why, and this I guess is directed to the chief, why do we need a new police training facility? Isn't the one we have only about, 12 or maybe 15 years old? I know it's fairly new and modern. Maybe I'm just getting old, and it just doesn't seem like it was that long ago that it was built. Well, why the need for a new one?
Well, the training facility is across the street, and it's old, it's small, and it doesn't have a firing range or a shoot house or anything that modern police academies or training academies have. So what we've envisioned is a training center that is also multifunctional. It operates as an emergency operations center, so to be fortified. It can have redundancy for our radio room. It can hold some of our heavier equipment, but the main purpose of it would be for the training of our officers and maybe other agencies. It would have a range, a firing range, indoor firing range. It would have a shoot house for practical situations and training, where you control the environment, the conditions, and put officers through the test on how they would react under stress. St. John has one, that's the closest one, but they're having some issues with their center. So, I went on a mission to try to get funding to at least start with the design phase and the development of it, and that's what this is. So it is much needed. We're a large department, we're a model department. So it's something that I feel would be an added benefit to the Kenner Police Department and the city of Kenner.
I appreciate that. I'm assuming it'll be at least 2-story.
It would be, so the Cadillac plans were at least 3 or 4 stories.
How many?
The Cadillac plan, the best version would be 3 or 4 stories with underneath parking for encampment, cooking, things of that nature. When a hurricane or something comes through, you'd have all that outdoor, but we're going to scale it back in accordance with the funding we can get. But it will definitely be a training facility with an auditorium, classrooms, and a firing range, as well as a little shoot house to put officers through realistic situations.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
And it's important to note that this funding, through our lobbyists and through our state delegation, this money is coming from the state. So it's kind of that's what the CEA is, fortifying the relationship between us and facility and planning with the state so that we can get the seed money to start with the engineering and the development and the design of the building.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Seeing no further discussion. Oh, Councilman McKinney, I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to say, I want to thank the chief for the initiative to seeking this information or seeking this
funding from the state, and I think this is a step in the right direction, and hopefully we can get more funding, and we approve. Thanks.
Well, thank you. And look, this is a collaborative effort between all of us, going up to the delegation meetings on Tuesdays, working with our lobbyists, working with Senator Henry, the governor. We submitted a plan of what we wanted to do and why we needed it, and the state, they agreed, so that's why they're giving us this seed money to start the planning of it. Thank you.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, Chief, I just want to make a quick comment. This is fantastic, first off. Having gone through academy myself and understanding the need to have an academy right here, we already do have our academy, but having the training facilities here, where you have your own shooting range and you can have all the facilities that you need for your men to have the right background and training and so forth. You're putting it together, and I know it's a big cost, and the cost is as you said, it's not coming from our budget, it's coming from the state and federal and however other sources that you have been working on diligently to make it happen. This is huge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance authorizing the utilization of state contract number 44000309797 with Lee Tractor Company Incorporated to purchase industrial equipment on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $600,000 annually for the Fleet Management Department. Item 16B is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Gulf States Distributors to purchase 25 Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm compact semi-automatic pistols and related accessories in accordance with electronic bid 24-2147 in the amount of $12,725 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16C is an ordinance ratifying an emergency repair of the Fairbanks Morse submersible Pump Number 2, located at 31st and Washington Lift Station by Fluid Process and Pumps, LLC, in the amount of $19,870 for the wastewater department. Item 16D is an ordinance approving Amendment Number 1 to the agreement with Christmas Village, LLC, to supply Christmas lights as needed to increase the agreement amount by $40,000 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $90,000 annually for the General Services Department. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from BGS LLC for the purchase of 110 fire hoses in accordance with electronic bid 24-2146 and an amount not to exceed $20,416 for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16F is an ordinance declaring one Ford Crown Victoria fire vehicle as surplus and authorizing its donation to Jefferson Parish for the Fire Services Department. Item 16G is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid proposal received from Lamarck Ford to furnish two 2022 used vehicles in the amount of $61,760 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16H is an ordinance approving an agreement with Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, state project number H.0133770, federal aid project number H013370 regarding LA 48 Kenner Levee Trailhead Expansion Improvements Project. Item 16I is an ordinance authorizing the execution of an amended and restated cooperative endeavor agreement by and among the City of Kenner, State of Louisiana, North 1300 Block, Veterans Boulevard, Economic Development District, State of Louisiana, and Airport Motel, LLC, relating to the collection, use, and expenditure of a 2% sales and use tax and a 2% hotel occupancy tax to be levied in said district, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees. Councilman Brannigan.
Yes, I just want to say if you missed the Food Truck Festival, you missed a great time. I want to thank Mark and Heidi Glorioso and every one of the great employees that we had out there that made that thing a huge success. The layout this year was incredible. I know that we had some bad kids in the inflatables at one point, and Mark had to take care of that, but I'm going to tell you, it was just unbelievable. The setup, the layout, everything, it was perfect. And if this thing keeps growing, watch out.
Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you. I just want, I know we included Al Murillo in our prayers earlier with his passing, but I jotted down a few notes that I wanted to make comment. Al Murillo was known for his big booming voice. He was passionate about city, parish, housing, and military matters. So the things that he spoke on and attended were very broad in nature. He was always in attendance at public meetings and made his presence known. He always took the position of the people and tried his best to protect everyone. He held elected officials accountable. Most of all, he truly loved the city of Kenner. He will truly be missed. God bless him and his family. Thank you.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. I also just wanted to thank the Gloriosos as well for their setting up the Veterans Day ceremony this morning. That was a very nice event, and as always, I think it's very important to recognize the veterans. I know Councilman Schwartz did it this earlier, but I just want to reiterate that, thank you for setting that up, and it was a very nice ceremony. So thank you. Have a good day.
Councilman Lahat?
Yes, Mark, on the Food Truck Festival, fabulous job. It gets better every year. I'm going to hold you to that idea of having maybe 2 stages down the road. I thought that was a really unique thing we can maybe do if we ever need any help with that. But it's really impressive how you changed the setup this year, and it faces a lake, and it was just perfect. I had no criticisms, nothing at all about how you set up everything. I think everything was staged perfectly. The food options were incredible. A lot of people, not just from Kenner, but from Orleans and everywhere else, show up to that festival too. And it's a great time. We do it on a Sunday every year. That's not a Saints game. Well, no one's watching the Saints this year anyway. It wouldn't matter. But it's no, thank you again. And on Al, I think I said this to him at a meeting, but I do career day at St. Anne every year, and I show the students how government works, and I go through videos about council meetings about who the council is, who the mayor is, who the police chief is. And all they say is that loud guy going to talk again? We want to see that more of that guy. And they all crack up and laugh. That's all they want to see is Al Murillo videos. And they're like, why is he mad again? I'm like, well, he just wanted an explanation. So it was really nice knowing Al for the few years I did. And I did like the guy. And he made a lot of sense most of the time. But I had a lot of interesting conversations with him. But God bless he and his family. And many blessings to him.
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Ms. Evans? Just to remind you, Ms. Evans, again, for council, you have 3 minutes.
Evelyn Evans.
Thank you, ma'am.
I live at 307 Forsyth Street in Kenner. These are questions that we have for our councilwoman and for the members of the council. On October 3rd, the city council rezoned over 3.5 acres of residential area that was converted to industrial. That was over the objections of the Hanson City, and if anyone in here is that age, they should know that we used to call the Old Kenner area Hanson City. The only individual that stood up for Old Kenner was, thank you, Mr. Tom Wilmot, for first of all listening and hearing and supporting us on what we know was right. Also, during that October 3rd council meeting, there were several promises that were made by Missy Quigley and by Councilwoman Dunn regarding the buffer, okay? That there were going to be trees, there were going to be a quantity of vehicles and equipment that would be stored on the property, the types of materials that would be stored on the site, and also repair vehicles. Our association is asking to have these questions that we're asking tonight, to have them either answered tonight or deferred to the November 22nd meeting with answers. We would like to know how wide and how long between the homes on Farrell Street and the construction operation will be. What will be the length of their buffer from Farrell Street and the actual construction of the property of the construction operation? Okay, the next question will be, how will the buffer between the homes on Farrell Street and Command Construction operate and be enforced once everything is up? Does the city of Kenner and the board and the mayor have anything in writing that is going to ensure that Command is in compliance? Those were questions that we would like to have answered. If someone can answer those questions for us tonight, or as I'm asking, you all made the decision, but those constituents will have to live with the decisions that you all made. So we would like to have those things answered for us. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Turn it off. Thank you so much. Ms. Matthews?
Good evening, everyone. Vanessa Matthews, 1917 Short Street, Rivertown. For the benefit of those council members who have not seen my email or read the email that I sent to Councilwoman Dunn, I just wanted to say that she invited me to meet with her on October 30, and I was happy that she did because I had been waiting for responses from several emails that I had sent. So we did meet, and during that meeting, she shared some information that I found a little disturbing. When I asked about why she didn't ask for a delay after our comments, she said she could not. And when I asked her why she didn't pursue the request for consideration, which we made timely, she said that the other council members had already seen the string of emails that was sent out that I asked Natalie Hall to send out, and that they had already seen it, and that they could have acted upon it. You all could have acted upon it. And I said to her that it was her responsibility as lead for District 1 to do so, but she did not. She also said that the rezoning the decision to rezone had already been made. I found that quite disturbing because by the planning department. She said it was made by the planning department. And I found that quite disturbing because it's my understanding that the planning department recommends decisions. And it's the decision of the council to take the vote. So it was quite disturbing. So I found that whole meeting, it didn't get me anywhere. It didn't change anything that I understood for what Councilwoman Dunn does not understand and did not understand about our concerns. It didn't change, didn't move the needle. And so I said to her, and I said in this memo, that I would hope in the future that she would listen to her constituents, listen to us carefully. And when she decides to hold another community meeting for whatever issue that might come up, it is my hope and prayer that she would take the time to listen to the individuals who need information, and that she would take careful consideration to explain it to them. Ultimately, I wanted her to know, and I'd like you all to know too, that even though we were not successful in our endeavor, and we were not successful in gaining her support, thank you again, Councilman Wilmot, we were not successful in gaining her support for the rezoning issue. The members of Old Kenner Civic Association, as well as the citizens of District 1, will be watchful and we will be vigilant to make sure that we are part of and we listen to what you're discussing in your future council chambers. Any comments or questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Mr. Nugent.
Thank you, Councilman Schwartz. Brian Nugent, 5444 Erlanger in District 3. Just a few words about Mr. Morella. I ran into Al Morella at Home Depot on Saturday. I actually didn't recognize him at first because it was the first time I'd ever seen Al wearing something other than one of his signature suits. We talked for a bit, and he informed me about the veteran ceremony this morning at Heritage Park. When we parted, I couldn't imagine that this would be the last time I'd have the pleasure of conversing with this institution of Jefferson Parish politics. Al may not have been an elected official, but he served the citizens of Kenner and of Jefferson Parish all the same. And what's more, he did it for free. I've often wondered if people really appreciate the time and frustration that comes with the kind of much-needed oversight Al tried so hard to provide for all of us. It's typically thankless work, but he did it gladly and with enthusiasm. Al, this parish and this city won't be the same without you. You often asked if I might succeed you one day, but I never thought it would be this soon. We could never hold a candle to your work, but please rest easy knowing that there are people, many of whom are here today, who will continue your exhaustive efforts to seek transparency in government. Thank you, Al, for your service to this country. Thank you for your service to Jefferson Parish, and thank you for your service to the citizens of Kenner. Your efforts have impacted all of us, and your legend will live on. Thank you.
Very great. That's very beautiful, Brian. Thank you. Mr. Taft.
Greg Taft, 5th District. Everybody has already said good things about Al Morella, and the only one thing I want to say about him, because I've talked to him many times on the phone, we discussed many issues, and one thing I will tell you, regardless of what his voice said, regardless of how he named things and all the resignations he asked for, one thing about it, his heart was in the right place. What he was trying to accomplish was in the right place. It wasn't for Al Morella, it was for the people, for Kenner, and for Jefferson Parish. And that's the one thing that I just want to point out, because when you talk to him, and as you know, he can keep you for a while, you learn a lot about his character, and his character was as pure as you can ask. His motivation was for the betterment. And I just wanted to be left at that, because I have a lot of respect for him, because I knew that his heart was in the right place. What he was doing was for the right things. The other thing I want to bring up, I think what happened in District 1 with the change, it does bring up a lot of things that's happened in the past that I have pointed out before, is that a lot of times the council, when they vote, with the exception of a few, such as Tom Wilmot, you forget the people. Y'all, sometimes I get the feeling y'all think you know more, or you know what's best for the people, instead of letting the people tell you what's best for them or for their neighborhoods. Now, I know y'all work hard in your respective neighborhoods and your respective districts, but you got to remember something. The people have a lot on their plate, and the people will give you the information you need, and the people want your help. And they want Kenner and Jefferson to be as great as it can, because they got families here, they got roots here, they got, feelings here for this city and this parish. All I can say is listen to the people. Town hall meetings don't cost anything. When you got an issue such as a change that people are objecting to, attend those meetings, have meetings, learn what their objections are, and more importantly, find a way to work out the objection, because there's always a solution somewhere. But you can't just say, well, I'm not worried about your opinion, I'm going to vote this way, or I feel this is best, I'm going to vote this way. It leaves the people, and that's why you have the frustration. I'm sorry, I went over. I'll take it off my next time. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take it up the next time, Greg. Thank you, sir. Ms. Alessandro, you're up.
Hello again. So I don't really have anything prepared to say. I just felt like I wanted to come to the meeting and express my sadness over Al Morella's passing. I think it's a sad day for Kenner. We're losing a local legend, a hero, a patriot, a champion of the people, and a fierce government watchdog. And Al was a great man. And some of the tributes that were said today by some of you guys and some of the citizens were beautiful. And I wish Al could be here to hear all these nice things being said about him. Because sometimes when you're up here speaking, you can feel like you're alone on an island and it's only you against everything else. And that never bothered Al. He got up here no matter what, and I greatly admired him and respected him for that. Was he loud? Yes. Was he always right? No. Did that ever stop Al? No. But he was always trying to do the right thing. That was very important to him. And I too used to run into him at Walmart mostly, and he relished in telling me his latest win. Even if it was something small, it was big to him. And I enjoyed hearing it. And, you know, and as any lady in here who's ever had an encounter with Al, one of my favorite things, and one of the things I'm going to miss hearing is, how you doing, young lady? No matter if you were 25 or 105, he called you young lady. And I looked forward to hearing that, and I'm going to miss hearing that. And so I want to quote here. There was a little tribute written today by Lara Nicholson and Blake Patterson, and I'd just like to read just the last two paragraphs in their article. They said, Morella lived in Kenner. Oh no, that was my glasses. Okay. Morella lived in Kenner for half a century, a fact made known every time he stepped up to the podium to address a group of government officials, saying, Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 4th District, unincorporated Jefferson, 52 years. And I probably didn't even need to look down. I probably could have recited that without looking. And in Morella's final comments to the Jefferson Parish Council on October 16th, he challenged Governor Jeff Landry to a debate and demanded his resignation before chastising the parish government for the ongoing controversy surrounding the Gretna Brew Pub project. And one more thing, Morella said before Chairman Scott Walker cut him off for reaching his time limit. Al Morella responded, I'm out of time. To be continued. Any questions, anybody? Last call. Thank you.
I'm sure he hears us tonight. As long as we don't text him or email him, he gets the message. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Richard Brown, District 4, and I can't top that, but I have the same sentiments about Al Morella. But before I get to that, I wanted to say 2 or 3 other things. First off, I wanted to tell Chief Conley that you convinced me of the need for the new police training facility. I didn't intend to come across as being critical. I'm just thinking, I thought that facility was fairly new. Why do we need a new one? You've convinced me, and it's state money, so I'm good with it. And I wanted to say a couple of words about the Food Truck Festival. It was terrific. that this year Kenner did it right. I like all the changes Kenner made, having the band set up near the lake. It was just so much better than last year. If I could suggest maybe 2 improvements. Number one, I think the city needs to put tables and chairs or benches out in the food court area, the food truck area, so people can sit down and eat. And the other thing is to give us some kind of a paper map or a diagram of which food truck is selling what. I think that would be a huge help. And I also wanted to mention that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had our 3rd annual Holly Heights Fall Festival, which was a great success, a terrific success. The kids loved it, a lot of kids there. And so many people still don't really know that park and that playground exists. That's all the result of Arita Bohannon's dream. And I'm out there frequently, and every time there are more and more kids there enjoying it. And finally, I've got to say a few words about Al Morella. And he's a legend. And I've been coming and speaking at council meetings for about 15 years. Al's been doing it longer than that. I've been doing it maybe 20 years. But he was a patriot. He wanted to do what he thought was best for Kenner and for Jefferson Parish. He was passionate. I've had many conversations with him in Walmart, and you might as well be prepared to stand there and talk a while, because you can't just say, "Hey, how you doing, Al?" and move on. That won't happen. But I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him terribly. And I did not always agree with him, but he was a good man. He meant well. He was a true patriot. I appreciate his service to his country, his service to his community, to the city, to the parish. His heart was in the right place. He worked hard. He was passionate. I love his passion, and I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of Mr. Al, let's bow our heads and give him his 3 minutes that he always wanted here at the council chambers. Thank you, Mr. Al. I think that's probably the quietest I've ever heard this chamber before. And last, Ms. Glorioso.
Yeah, and in honor of Mr. Al, look, we're all going to miss him, and I'm touched by what we've heard from everybody here tonight. I just thought it'd be fitting that for one last time, somebody come up here in honor of you, Al, and ask y'all got any comments or questions for me? That's for you, Al. We're going to miss you, buddy.
At this point, meeting adjourned.